If you look at the nations around the world, disregarding the Eastern nations such as Japan, China, Korea, etc., the rest of the world is a basket case, except for the European nations. I know this is a big generalization, but that is exactly what it is, a generalization. There are always exceptions to a rule, and this is no different. Let's take any number of countries on earth and look at how well they are doing economically, socially, as well as technologically, and try to correlate that with the ethnic compositions of these countries. It is my understanding that the lower the percentage of the population that are European or of European descent, the worse the country does in all the above categories. By simple deduction, it can be determined that the higher the percentage of European people that make the general population in any country, the better off the country is. Here is what I just can't understand though. No matter where you go on earth, with the exceptions mentioned previously, it is simply expected of the white European people to drag the rest along for the ride. What I mean is this. We know that these other nations simply do not reach the same level of success in any category as we do. The reasons for this are immaterial at this stage, yet it is expected of us to constantly drag them along for the ride. We do this in various ways. I find that the best way to try and understand any concept is to consider it in its extremes. If done like this, the concept becomes self-evident. So let us look at a country like Ethiopia. We have a people who are clearly not very intelligent. They are not capable of even feeding themselves. It is self-evident that they are simply not able to grasp the concept that there is not enough food to feed the existing population, yet they keep having more children. What do the Europeans do? We ship in tons of food to feed them. Now please don't think that I am advocating that we leave them to starve. What I am trying to say is that we, the European nations, donate tons of food to them, and by so doing, we make them healthier, which in turn enables them to have more children, which they definitely do. Are we actually helping them? Not in my opinion. It is simply impossible to beat nature at its own game. So that is an extreme example of an entire country that is totally unable to look after itself. Let us now look at traditionally European countries that have decided to help people from other less fortunate non-European countries by opening their borders to share their wealth with the less fortunate. Take countries like Italy and Spain. These two countries decided that they would help the so-called refugees from Africa to escape war and poverty in their own countries by opening their borders and letting them flood into Italy and Spain by the hundreds of thousands. What did Spain and Italy get for their good gestures? I will tell you what they got. They got a crime rate that shot through the roof. They got hundreds of thousands of people who came not to be productive, but to take what they could and as much as they could. This has reached such proportions that the citizens of these countries have reached a stage where they have said enough is enough. The populations have reached a stage where they have come up in opposition to their own governments and are voicing their opposition to what is happening. In some cases, they have already voted out the politicians that have allowed this mass migration to happen. I used Italy and Spain as examples, but there are many more countries that are experiencing the same thing. Countries like Sweden and Germany, for instance. Germany's Angela Merkel has been voted out after causing huge chaos in Germany by opening their borders to thousands of these refugees who are causing untold harm and damage wherever they go. Let's compare these countries to European countries that have said no to mass migration. Take countries like Bulgaria or Poland. They have rejected all calls for them to open their borders. They have stable economies, safe and clean cities, low crime rates, high life expectancies, all the attributes of a successful nation. So if it is so glaringly clear that the concept of helping these nations is in itself a contradiction, why do they do it? It is clear that they are doing their own countries irreparable harm in the process, and it is also clear that the people they are supposedly helping are not running from anything, but running to something. They are running to grab what they consider to be their share of the riches and the fruits of other people's labor. They are heading to where they can take what they can and as much as they can, without having to work for it. Now let us look at South Africa. We are unique in the fact that we are a minority people of European descent living in a country that has now become overrun with black African people. It was not always this way. The black African people have embarked on a mass breeding program that has no comparison anywhere on Earth except for in the animal world. The average generation of a European is generally considered to be around 25 years. Contrast that with the African people here who are now approaching a generation length of 12 to 13 years. This has resulted in a population explosion never seen before anywhere. Even so, the white people of European descent, while making up less than 10% of the population, are still far more successful than their African countrymen. They still carry the largest portion of the tax burden. This figure sits in the region of around 80%, which is absolutely crazy. In South Africa, it has become our culture to drag these African nations along with us. Here's why I say this. For as long as I can remember, it has always been the white people who have been doing charity work for the black people. Sure, there have always been black people who have and still do work for charities, but the initiators of these charities have always traditionally been white people. It has become our culture to drag these people who clearly, in general, are not able to succeed by themselves, certainly not at a level or standard we are accustomed to, along with us for the ride. Since 1994, we have given them the economy to uplift themselves. We have helped them to learn skills which should have put them in positions to lift themselves out of poverty. We have shown them how to run companies, how to perform skilled jobs. We have even given them the entire country. Yes, the country was given to them in 1994. What did we get for our efforts? I'll tell you what we got. We got a select elite few who have robbed the country blind while they enrich themselves and their immediate families. Nothing new in Africa. We got a country in which at least one farmer is killed every week. We got a country where somewhere in the region of 57 murders take place every single day. We got a country where the government has to keep finding new ways to draw money out of the only productive section of the population to stay afloat. Yes, you guessed it, that would be us, the white minority. We got a country where the black African government has plundered and maladministered every single state-owned entity into total disarray and collapse. We got a country where people are hacked to pieces or set on fire in the city streets. We got a country where it is considered acceptable to burn and destroy infrastructure whenever we feel unhappy about something. I could go on, but I think you get the picture. My question is, why do we still help them? Why do we, as white Europeans, still insist on dragging these other nations along behind us when they are clearly a burden and by experience only bring misery and destruction with them? Why do we insist on promoting and financing our own demise? Why do we keep turning the other cheek when all we ever get in return is a knife in the back? Just something to think about. Please like and share this video on as many social media platforms as possible. It is the only way my message gets out there. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, do it now by clicking on that big red subscribe button. While you are there, click on the bell icon to be notified every time I upload new content. If you would like to support my channel and my work, in the description field I have provided ways for both local as well as international subscribers to make a contribution. If you would like to make a crypto contribution, I have provided a Bitcoin as well as a Litecoin address. To those that do support my channel, I say a huge thank you. Be safe out there. Until next time.